In this video, I will cover a couple of trends that I noticed when I did my research into the field of financial RetireTech. The first trend that I will cover is happening on the retiree and employee segments and is about the democratization of access to financial advice. Traditionally, it's mostly wealthy people who can afford a financial advisor. But whether it's in the US or Europe, there's an increasing number of startups which want to democratize it. They provide platforms that usually cover the full spectrum. From educational content about how and why to save for retirement, to investment recommendations, and even help with tax filing and other admin tasks. It's worth noting that several platforms that are specialized in retirement planning also democratize the access to real advisors through video conference sessions. So it's not necessarily only pure self-service models. Since the goal of these platforms is to capture an untapped segment of the population, their main value proposition is really education and ease of use more than financial performance. Their product must be super easy to use so that users can do almost everything online by themselves. This is why, in my opinion, the success of these companies relies more on their marketing performance rather than their fintech component. I believe that the most successful startups will be the ones that are great at lead generation and manage to build a strong enough brand to mitigate their dependence on paid acquisition. We stay on the consumer segment with another interesting trend, which is almost the other side of the coin we just spoke about, and which is the emergence of do-it-yourself investing tools. In this case, several startups are building products that enable people to do what professional financial advisors usually do. So instead of having to pay for a professional financial advisor, you can do this task yourself thanks to products specifically built for DIY investors. Obviously, this trend started a while ago with products such as Robinhood, but what I see is the emergence of tools which enable users to automate increasingly complex tasks such as retirement accounts consolidation, portfolio rebalancing, tax loss harvesting, etc., etc. Obviously, the big question about this trend is the real addressable market and whether you believe that there's enough people who are into DIY investing. Or if you skip this segment and directly target the mass market by providing a tool that automates everything in the background for them. Just as a quick comment, the startups in the first two trends target the consumer segment, which is super hard to monetize at scale. So there's a real question about lead generation, because these companies need to be super good at continuously generating leads in order to counterbalance the structural high churn of the consumer segment. But there's also the question of the business model, because most successful consumer apps are monetized through ads or through fees that they cut over transactions. And even if the subscription consumer model is getting increasingly popular at the moment, it still has to be proven that it can scale in other verticals than entertainment. Once you retire, a huge change is that you stop generating revenue from your work. So you transition from I'm saving money from my retirement mode to I need to be careful not to spend unwisely what I saved. And in many cases, what a person has saved is not enough to sustain her current lifestyle. This is why several startups focus on enabling retirees to generate additional income. This is the case of Colette, a French startup that enables retirees to generate income by renting the empty rooms they have in their house or flat. The idea is that many retirees do not move out once their kids leave their house. So they can rent these empty bedrooms to students easily on Colette to generate additional income. But generating additional income can take several forms. It can be passive income by investing the money they have saved in assets, but it can also be active income with, for example, marketplaces enabling retirees to earn more money by babysitting, or even retirees working part-time to help with labor shortage. It's increasingly the case in the medical field, where more and more doctors in France continue to work some hours every week, even if they are retired. As I mentioned in the previous video, the market for financial planning is still dominated by local financial advisors and agencies. Many of these agencies are small businesses which haven't fully transitioned to a digital approach. So there's a trend of startups building products that help these agencies to first digitize an increasing number of the tasks that they usually do manually, but also to help them expand their business by being less local and more regional/national. For instance, you can find an increasing number of platforms where you can connect online to financial advisors regardless of where they are.